Ahoy ahoy to all you smooth sailors out there, and welcome aboard the Deck Tales podcast. I'm your host and captain, Sammy Catlin, and this is the show where we set sail into the captivating world of ship life. Most of the time, delving into the best and worst experiences of the incredible crew members who called the open sea their workplace, but I'm open to the odd exception as well. Whether we're navigating stunning destinations to weathering unexpected storms, our guests all have stories to tell that will make you laugh, gasp, and maybe even shed an unexpected tear. So if you're a seasoned cruiser eagerly awaiting your next embarkation, or just curious as to what goes on at sea, Deck Tales is your boarding pass to a world of nautical narratives. My guest today is Mr. Bboy Smurf, a former cruise ship hip-hop dancer who now spends most of his time working as a tattoo artist and occasionally teaches dance within his Las Vegas community. Smurf worked 2 contracts for Carnival over 14 years ago and was quick to let me know that he hadn't spoken about the ships much since he'd left them on account of how it basically ended for him. I was in truth in a state of disbelief at times during this chat, as I had no idea as to the extent of some of Smurf's extracurricular activities on board, shall we say. It's a juicy one, folks. So let's anchor up and have a little listen. Recording in progress. Can you hear me?
Hear you, man.
Smurf!
What's up? What's up? What's up?
How you doing?
Man, I'm fucking tired right now.
Oh shit, I forgot we've got this 8-hour time difference.
Yeah.
Wait, your day just started and my day kind of just wrapping up. It is what it is.
It is what it is.
By the way, just in case you're wondering, this is not how I always dress, but because you're my most urban guest up to this point, I figured, you know what? I get some clubber on to try and represent myself in a different light, because so far it's been plaid shirts, denim, glasses, and that's pretty much it.
Yeah, you look athletic right now. You look athletic.
I don't feel it, mate. I'm 30 old, 30 plus. I did send you some questions. But before we get into them, do you know what? I was trying to think back to where it is we spent some of our time together. And that's another reason for me wearing this shirt, exactly, because we were in the state of Florida.
Right.
So I've got my Miami Heat on.
Oh, yeah. That's right.
Dwayne Wade's on the back, in case you're wondering. But yeah, that was... Where were we? So for the benefit of people listening, you are first and foremost, you're an artist.
Yes.
Across a broad spectrum. Primarily, you're a tattoo artist these days.
Yes, correct.
But you do other commissions.
Yes.
When I knew you back in 2010, you were just a humble B-boy, which is, for those who don't know, a breakdancer.
That's right.
You definitely knew how to cut a rug, as the kids say. Whatever other terms that they use today, I'm always trying to play catch up. But we were in
Tampa. We were in Tampa.
We were in Tampa, and we were doing cruises with Carnival.
Right.
It was my second contract with them, and I think it was my last contract with them as well. I'm not sure.
Wow.
I think you left. We'll get into that, but basically my memories of that contract were between literally Tampa and Cozumel.
Right, Cozumel, the Bahamas.
We didn't go to the Bahamas.
Well, we did. We didn't. I thought we did.
Not with me. You didn't.
Okay. Yeah, so we went to Progreso for sure as well. I think Progreso. No. We didn't go.
No. We're going back some years. I know I didn't go on the Bahamas. Go to the Bahamas with Carnival. I'm just stuck. I can't think in my mind. Where was the other place? Cozumel, Mexico, definitely, and Tampa. It can't have just been those 2 ports.
There's an island that we went to. I thought it was the Bahamas, but there's another island that we stopped in that I can remember.
Yeah. Well, it's in the past. The point is, I remember, and I was just thinking about, do I have any memories of that time spent with just you? And there was that one time we went to that. You said you were going to show me some proper authentic Mexican cuisine.
Okay. Yeah.
We went to Cozumel, went to this place. They brought out the sizzler, the platter of chicken with like
Yeah. I think it was No
cheese.
Name Bar or Piranha, a Hotel Piranha or something like that.
Mate, I have not had tacos like that ever since. I honestly, I hold my hand up. Best I've ever had, and I've been searching ever since.
Yeah, you
I
got to come
can't
out to
find
the
them.
U. You got to come out to Los Angeles, to the U.S., to California, or even Mexico. You got to go to Mexico.
But yeah, the thing that I remembered also from that little trip we had was you whipped out your harmonica in the middle of service in a restaurant, and there was a group of mariachi band players that came into the restaurant and they circled around our table.
Really?
You bust out the harmonica, dude, and you started wailing on it, and you were joining in with them playing,
Wow.
and then the bar manager came over and gave us some free shots.
Oh, that's right. That's right. I don't remember that. The whole time was a blur. Everything's a blur to me. It happened so long ago, and I think most of the time we were just drinking. There was
Exactly.
nothing else. There was nothing else really to do but to party. It was a cruise ship.
It was a cruise ship. But I had to think long and hard about that, and it snuck up on me. I was like, food is such a good thing to help you get your memory going.
True, 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 true. Yeah, we had a lot of fun on that shit, man. I think
Yeah,
we had excitement every 3 or 4 days because we had a port, and every time we went somewhere, it was just go get some food and get some drinks and go check out the city. So everything's just a blur to me. When I try to think back at it, I could barely remember anything, but I know I was there.
I know that I had my first ever Philly cheesesteak in a bar by
Ooh,
by the port in Tampa. That's where
ooh,
had my first ever Philly cheesesteak. I know
that
it's
sounds
not.
good right now. That sounds good right now.
You're waking up to the idea of that sort of breakfast.
Yeah, man. I don't really have crazy breakfasts like that, but I drank a little bit last night.
Oh,
So I'm gonna
okay.
go hungover right now. So it's almost like perfect timing for the interview. So I need something fatty to eat this morning. So as soon as we're done with the interview, I might go get myself a cheesesteak.
Is that why you forgot that we had this booked in for this morning?
No, you know what? I woke up at it's currently 9 a.m. my time right now. I woke up at 6 thinking to myself, okay, I gotta get up, I gotta get ready. So I showered, I got ready, and I laid down for like a few minutes, watched something on the television, and I went back to bed.
How is that possible? After you've showered as well?
Yeah. I'm just really tired. I work a lot. I've been
You,
working a lot.
you've been doing a lot of renovations and stuff, right?
Renovations. I have my tattoo studio, and I got so much going on. I'm just really, really busy. I got digital art. I'm working on a cartoon, on an animation. I mean, man, I just got so much going on.
That sounds amazing. No, I'm glad you've got stuff that we can at the end of this kind of, give you a chance to promote it because I'm still just starting off this journey. But yeah, this is the kind of the point. I wanted to do something that would help me reconnect with people that I used to work with, but also share with everyone else stories from a time spent out in international waters because it's very curated. If you go on Instagram or the social medias of the world today,
True, true.
you'll get kids doing vlogs, and it's like, what's life like on board a cruise ship? They can't show shit because all they've got is like, a clause in their contract that says you can't do this and that. So they can show you inside their cabin, but not much else. So
Right.
we want to hear about the stuff that goes on when you're at work, when you're off work. You're not filming everything. Some of the best stuff happens when you don't have the camera in your hand.
True, true.
In the case of you, how your contract came to an end, but we'll get to that. We'll get to that. So let's go through the questions. And by the way, do you want me to refer to you by your old former stage name, or would you prefer I called you Pedro?
Smurf is good. Everybody calls me Smurf, or you can call me Pedro too. Pedro's my real name.
Yeah.
Nobody calls me Pedro, so when I hear it, it's a little weird. But either way
I own
works.
it.
Either way
I
works.
when you told me your name was Pedro, I was like, of course it was. But I couldn't remember other than well, yeah, because your partner, your PIC, was Mike, and he didn't have a
Mm,
stage name, and that's why it took me
No,
so. I was trying so hard to remember because everyone had a stage name. We had. Did you have Mike, and then somebody else came and joined you? Was it Stripe?
no, me. Oh no, no, no. Me and Mike replaced two other guys, and then we were supposed to leave and get replaced. So we were replacing by couples. The
That's
dancers.
right. Do you remember who you replaced?
Yes, we replaced Tori and there's two guys from Chicago.
on
Tori, and I
the.
forgot the other guy's name.
Also, I was on the Inspiration or the Ecstasy with you. I can't even remember what ship it was.
Me neither, man. I don't even remember the names. I remember the Ecstasy sounds familiar. Paradise, it sounds familiar.
Paradise, I was on in Long Beach, unless you were on.
Okay.
But you weren't on that with me because
No.
otherwise, because I have the memory of you and me and Cozumel. So yeah, we would have been on the. I can't remember which ship it was. Obviously, such a long time ago.
Yeah. It was such a long time ago. I don't remember, but
But
that sounds right.
I appreciate you. Just even saying yes to this and being like, "Yo, this is cool. Come on, chat some shit."
Yeah, this is awesome. I haven't talked about any of the stuff that happened in the cruise in a long time.
Well, there's a good time to dig in deep. It's like that for a lot of people, though. They kind of either they're still in it and they haven't thought for a split second to like pump the brake and talk about some of the stuff they've experienced, or they're so far removed from it they haven't even given it a second thought because they're so busy with whatever it is they're doing now.
Right. Yeah.
And it's like that for you because you've got this, that, and the other going on.
Right. And sometimes I don't like talking about it because of how my contract ended. It's almost a little embarrassing, so I just avoid it. All it does come up once in a while when people talk about, oh, I'm going on a cruise. I let them know, I'm like, oh yeah, I used to work in one.
Well, it was two.
Two of them, yeah, I used to work in two.
So you did two contracts, both with Carnival, and they
Yes.
were one was cut short. Well, how long
Yes.
was your other contract?
I believe the first contract, I think I had an 8-month contract,
wow.
and after maybe like 5 or 6 months, I made up an excuse to leave because I was just tired of it. I got over it, and I was like, I'm out of here. And then I made up an excuse, something about me. I forgot what the excuse was, and they let me go home early. So I ended up doing like 6 months.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
as we haven't yet fully explained, your job on board, if you could call it that, I mean, you basically had to do a little bit of dancing now and again, right?
Right.
That's it. And obviously for you to say, "Oh, I got tired of it,"
It
making
was mostly tired of just being in the middle of the ocean with nothing to do. Like there was just, I just got tired of it.
Did you get tired of being known as that fun force guy?
No, that wasn't too bad.
You
I
never.
mean, our job was really easy, man. We danced. I think I danced maybe for like 30 seconds in a day. Because I was a breakdancer, so I can't sit there and breakdance all day. So it was just a show. I did a few moves and I got out. Once in a while, I would help with the bingo, with little stuff. But
I have got
it
no
wasn't really.
recollection of you ever helping me out with bingo, Smurf.
Yeah. We used to help out with bingo, and then
Did you?
yeah. And we helped out with the kids too, like the babysitters. We used to go and hang out with the kids and perform with them.
I'll take your
Uh,
word for it. I'm sure
yeah.
that does actually, with the bingo, sound vaguely familiar. I don't think any of the other guys did. That's probably why it stands out for me.
Mm.
Because out of all the other, I think I had like 6 guys in my 2 contracts with Carnival. You and Mike were the only ones I think that did. But hey, if I ever get in touch with those people and they tell me otherwise, then we'll keep it there.
I remember they used to be upset that we had no schedule, so they always try to include us in things here and there, and we just did it just because we were just nice and cool. So
And bored.
and bored and bored.
So out of all the things we had to do, my schedule as an entertainment host involved always being on the mic and getting people up and dancing. I had to do the hairy chest competition. And at the end of that, there was a round where you and your partner came out and you would do like a progressively harder routine as breakdancers for the guests to emulate. So first of all, it was just simple body popping and stuff.
Right.
And then towards the end, it was like full like cartwheel, box spins, or what do you call it when you do it on your head?
A head spin, a windmill. It was just anything. Yeah, a crazy move that we knew they couldn't do, right?
Yeah. I mean, I couldn't even do the first one, probably.
Actually, all that stuff that we used to do came from because we had an atrium show where I think we had like 20 minutes to create a show, and I was a street performer in Los Angeles, in Hollywood, in Venice Beach, even here I'm currently in Las Vegas, and I've always been a street performer. So because of that, I had a 10-15 minute locked in show where I sat there, I talked to the people, we danced a little bit, and that's really how we got the experience to just go on the ships and start doing little performances. And and being able to talk to the people. So
Did you do the atrium show on the first night of everyone's cruise when everyone was just packed in?
yes.
I think it was like a way to.
No, I think it was maybe it was that same night or the second night. It was in the beginning though. I forgot when it was, but it was in the beginning.
Mm. Did you have a preferred ship? Obviously, if you take into account, or rather take out of account, how your second contract ended,
Yes.
did you have a preferred ship?
Yes, my second contract.
So the one you got let go from was your favorite
Yes.
ship.
Yes.
What was that? What was the reasons behind that? Can you remember?
Yeah, of course. The first ship that I went on was a test trial. It was just to see what I'm getting myself into, you know. I wasn't able to pass the drug test, so I ended up having to cheat it to get on the ship.
Right.
And once I got on the ship, that was like the beginning of how I was gonna act. You know, so anyways, the first ship was mostly just trying to figure it out, see what I'm able to get away with, trying to test the waters. And then on my second ship, I brought in tattoo machines. I brought in a bunch of paints.
That's right.
But I just started. I knew what I was getting myself into, and this time around, I wasn't bored. That's one of the reasons I wanted to leave early for my first contract, because now when I was on the ship, I was like, okay, now I know that I got a lot of free time, and I could do artwork. I could tattoo people. I just started creating, thinking, oh, actually, I could do this, I could do that. So I went home maybe 2 months, and I came back to another contract, and that one was more fun because I knew what I was getting myself into.
Do you know what I did with my spare time?
What?
I slept.
Yeah.
Because we were always on the go. We had we weren't as busy as some people on that ship, but we were still pretty busy.
Right.
We would, the guys on the mic, we would host every flipping bingo, game show, quiz, you name it. Sporting
we also
activity.
helped out with the comedy club at night. We used to go
you?
help out with the comedy club. Yeah, we used to, I forgot what we were doing.
Yeah.
I think we did it with you actually. And I forgot what he did, but we were doing the same thing where we're interacting with the crowd, helping out a lot. So I think that people started noticing that I was able to function and control people in a sense. I had showmanship. So I started doing a lot of extra things during my contract. So yeah, the comedy club was one of them where we had to come out, we performed a little bit, and we helped out.
Don't suppose you remember who else was on my team?
I want to say, I wouldn't remember. No, I wouldn't remember.
So you did 2 contracts, departments. What did you have to? So you had to. Let's dive back into that one about the drug test.
Yes.
With that, I'm not going to ask you what drugs were flagging up in your system. But is it me, or do I remember this incorrectly? At the same time, we were working out of Tampa. There was a new kind of like artificial weed that tasted like apple or something. And
yes, it was spice.
It was spice.
It was spice. Yeah, it was spice.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know.
But I got snuck on board.
You didn't even have to sneak it on board because it was legal.
It was legal. Yes.
Yeah.
And I had it. We've had something over here. I think it's the same name, but they are not the same.
Yeah. No, you know what? During that time, I think it was the same. I think it's the same. I think that maybe a year after my contract with Carnival, I started hearing people losing their minds with that same thing.
Yeah.
But I think that spice was it was an incense. It wasn't nothing that you consumed. It was like an incense mixture of herbs. You weren't supposed to consume it. You weren't supposed to smoke it. But I think a lot of people did smoke it because it gave you the effects of being high without it popping up in a drug test.
So you had it at one time, and do you remember how you reacted?
Yes, man, that was it was very scary. I was smoking weed on the ships, for the record. So when everybody was trying spice, I was like, why? I got weed. And everybody was scared to do it. I didn't care about getting fired. And that's why I was so bad, because it wasn't a career move for me. I actually went on the ships initially to get past my fear of water, because I've drowned when I was a kid. I drowned.
Oh wow!
And to get past my fear of water, I actually took the contract because one of my friends is a dancer as well, and he was one of the guys managing the teams and hiring people. So he told me, yeah, just come on and make some money. So I can really take it serious, man. I just came on just to fuck around and have a lot. Face
your demons.
Yeah. And I ended up drowning on my second contract.
What?
Yeah, I ended up drowning. And one of the girls that saved me, I forgot her name. She was a little bit Asian looking. She was in our contract and
Was
she
she a
actually saved me.
dancer?
Yeah, she was a dancer. Yeah.
Damn.
And she
Well,
had like contacts. She had like blue contacts on all the time. She was a fairly good looking. Well, all the girls were good looking, right? So yeah, I forgot her name, man, but everybody used to say we looked like each other, like, oh, she was my older sister.
oh,
And
well, check your Facebook. I'm sure she's a friend on there somewhere.
maybe.
Maybe,
Yeah.
maybe, maybe. Well, if she saved your fucking life, mate.
She did, man. She did. She did. And that was a crazy day, afternoon, you know.
Shit. Well, how did you drown? What was it at the beach or something?
It was at the beach.
Yeah.
I think we had took in a tour bus. I don't know where we went, but we went to it was like a hill. And then when we got to the top of the hill, we had to jump from the hill onto the water. And I wasn't too good of a swimmer.
Yeah.
So when I jumped, and either I jumped and got down in 30 seconds, or I took a trail back down that took an hour or whatever the time it took. So everybody jumped. So I jumped with everybody. And I remember as soon as I hit the water, all like it just forced itself up my nose, and I wasn't prepared for it. And I remember looking up and I think I blacked out, oh no, I didn't black out. I do remember like trying to get up and trying to climb up the rocks, but it was slippery because of the whatever it is that the
algae.
rocks have. It was the algae, yes. And I remember just blacking out. I don't remember much. The next thing I know, they had already pulled me out, and she was over me, trying to help me out. So yeah,
Doing what do you call it?
yeah, she must have done
Resuscitation.
that. Yeah.
Well,
I just remember waking up and she was on top of me and everybody was around, and I was like, oh shit,
well, if she ever sees this, now's your chance to say thank you, mystery lady.
No, I did thank her. Yeah, she was such a cool girl. So shout outs to her.
Yeah, just again, isn't it? Thank you for keeping me alive. Kind of. Are you better with the water now, or are you still?
Yeah, you know what? After that, I end up getting a gym membership. After I went back home, I end up getting a gym membership, and I started training and learning how to swim. And
oh,
yeah,
that was your impetus to start
yeah.
learning to properly. To your two drowning attempts to fucking stop.
Yeah.
Like, I better start
Yeah.
taking this shit seriously in case I
And
am peer pressured into jumping off a cliff again. Out of interest.
no, I wouldn't do it no more. I'm scared of water still. I'm scared of water.
Out of interest, because you said, well, you said you had to I keep jumping topic, but just to go back, that spice stuff.
Yes.
I don't think I took any of your weed or any of that spice because I was I was an illegal alien if I was to, get sent home or whatever. But basically, I didn't want to risk it. And
Right.
so I think years and years ago, when I was at uni or college, as you guys say, some guy from Brazil brought in some spice, and it was
Oh
in
wow.
this silvery foil packet thing that looked really quite funky. I took a couple of tokes off of it, and I immediately felt so paranoid that I said, we have to be inside right now. And I meant that. I was like, we can't be out here in the open. We have to be inside. So we went into this, like, we had the music wing, and on the ground floor was the soundproof, like double sort of door, sort of soundproof booths where you could play the piano or guitar or accordion. And I went in there with him, and then I just sat down and I started smashing out on the piano, Hit the Road Jack by Ray Charles. And
Wow.
I was singing, Hit the Road Jack. I was just doing it in loop. And I think I lost my mind for about 15 minutes, just repeating.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
I was playing the same chords over and over again.
Yeah.
And I
It's
was getting more upset, and because it's only about 4 chords. Dun, 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 dun. It's like that's that downward progression thing, whatever.
Yeah.
And yeah, I was getting upset with myself for constantly fucking it up. So lesson to the kids: don't do spice.
Don't do spice, man. When I did spice, I was in my cabin in the ship, and I went
Safest place to be.
the safest place to be. Well, you know what we used to do? I used to smoke weed in the cabin all the time, and I used to blow it out on the toilet because the toilet had a suction. So I was out, and I don't know why I tried it. I think one of some Serbian guys was smoking it, and he gave it to me, and I went into my cabin and I took a hit, And man, everything turned into a cartoon. Everything became animated. Like I remember looking around and everything just became animated. My partner, Mike, was like, "Are you okay?" I'm like, "Oh, no. This happened in my first contract." And my first contract, my partner was Mace. Shout outs to Mace. And he's really a funny guy. So he used to look at me and go, "So what the fuck is wrong with you?" And I remember walking out into the hallway, where the rest of the rooms are. And I remember the girls coming out because there were all the dancers were girls. There was only two guys. It was me, my partner. And everybody was just animated. I felt like everybody was looking at me and wah, 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 wah. And I couldn't understand anything. And I was like, oh my God, this is too much. And I only tried it once and I knew I was going to lose my mind if I tried that again. So it was just to test it,
It's kind of like how they depict drug taking in cartoons.
Exactly. Yes, exactly.
But it's not fun.
Yeah. No, it's not fun. I didn't have fun. As soon as I did it, I knew it was not for me.
Yeah. Yeah.
It was too artificial. It was too artificial. I like natural stuff.
Well, that's exactly it. Yeah. But we're not condoning one or the other, I suppose. What's the law on weed in Vegas? It's legal?
The what?
The law.
Yeah, it's legal out here. Yeah, it's legal.
I'm trying to keep it linear, so we're on like a journey of your career as such. I know you didn't sort of see it as a career, but you've kind of got that as a stepping stone into other careers because it afforded you the time
Right.
to work on other passions.
Yes. Well, breaking was my career up until that point. Up until that point, breaking was everything I was doing, I was traveling the world competing in breakdancing. That's what I was really doing. I was competing. And that's how one of the guys that runs the agency, I was in competitions with him. He was part of my group, and that's how I ended up getting on the ship. But yeah, up until that point, breaking was my career.
And then you just saw the cruise as an opportunity to try something new.
Yeah.
But you never thought I would make a career out of this. It was just a way to do a little bit of traveling in a different capacity.
Yeah. Yeah. It was just I'm gonna try it. When you're young, you just want to get on and do shit, and not really, I can take it serious and, I can care about getting fired. I was just trying to enjoy myself.
So how old were you on the ships with me?
That was 2010, 2024. That was 15 years ago. I'm 42 now. So I might have been in my almost 30, 27.
Yeah. Okay. You got a couple years on me, but hey, you don't look it. If anything, I probably look a bit older because of the grays. Did you do, so out of the two ships you did you ever do any charter cruises? Because I did one with Carnival. I don't know if that was the Paradise or the other one.
No, I didn't do any of charter cruises. No.
Skip that question. Did you meet any celebrities on board?
No. One of my contracts, I forgot which one it was. We had Leonard Skinner jump on board.
That was the charter cruise.
Okay. Oh, so yeah, I did one then. Yeah, we did the Leonard Skinner cruise. That was
that was sick.
Yeah, that was sick. That was cool. Yeah, I did the charter cruise with. I didn't realize what you meant with charter cruise, but yeah, we were on board with Leonard Skinner. That was fun. That was very fun.
That was so different, wasn't it? Like just all of a sudden we had all of these. Can I say rednecks?
Yeah. Why not?
Is that fair? Is that racist?
Not if you're white. You're good.
Oh, good. That's fine. Yeah, rednecks on board. Like as far as the eye could see, literally load of Americans, Southern Americans with the Confederate flag in abundance.
Yeah.
Can't remember if it was the same cruise, but I had this one guy at the end of the cruise. We had to do disembarkation to get the guests off. And one of my duties was on this particular day. And I had to earmark this section for disabled guests. And I take my back for 1 second. I come back and there's a dude sitting in this section and he's got the Confederate flag, hat, T-shirt, backpack, jeans, shoes, medals, jewelry, everything in the Confederate flag. So I said to this guy, I'm awfully sorry, sir, but this section I've got to keep free for the disabled guests. And he just looked at me, Smurf, and he was just like, "Bite me, you limey fuck."
Whoa.
I was like, no, thank you, sir. I'm okay. I've just eaten.
Wow. Yeah, I never had nobody being rude to me. So
that was the only week I ever had like a full encounter of like just being surrounded by the southern states, and that was that cruise, the charter cruise with Lynyrd Skynyrd. Other than that one encounter with that dude, it was a funny week because we didn't have to do any of our regular duties, which was just like,
Right.
what the hell? We didn't have anything to do. We just,
It was weird. It was weird.
They had people coming on and were running their own entertainment. And I think
right.
when we did our sail away deck party, it was at that moment as we were leaving the port that they burst into Sweet Home Alabama.
Sweet Home Alabama.
And ironically, they're not even from there. They're from somewhere else.
That's funny.
Yeah, I think they're from I can't remember where it is they're from, but that ain't their home, baby. Anyway, so yeah, the Lynyrd Skynyrd cruise, the Southern Country Rock cruise, that was literally it. But they have charter cruises for everything. Like, they have different groups and niches or clubs, whatever. They get together and they book a cruise to take, and it's only their group that goes on it. So they have lots of different things. One of them is like a Kiss cruise, like the rock band.
That's cool.
There is also a flat Earth theorists cruise as well.
No way. That's funny.
But funny. That is funny because literally a ship, in order for it to be able to plan its route and navigate the globe, is based on the principles of the Earth being a globe.
Maybe. I have no idea. But I've seen a lot of conspiracy theories videos, and I was like, "Whoa!" So yeah.
Oh, so you're on the fence now, are you?
I don't know. I have a weird theory of where we're at. It's not even round or flat. I think that we're living in a moving organism.
Okay.
But that's a whole other video.
Oh, I don't know. I feel like sacking the rest of this video off just to ask you about that. What kind of? So it's a constantly evolving shape.
Yeah. It's a constantly evolving shape, almost like imagine. Because we got millions of people on Earth, right? And we're all living on a realm, and it's almost like in my body I have a million of cells, as above, so below. So if I have a million of cells in my body, if they try to do the math of where they're at, they won't be able to figure it out. It could look round and it could look flat. It could look either or, just depending on how you look at it. So, just like the cells in my body are living inside of an organism, I think that we are living inside of a bigger organism.
Interesting. There's a million things I could say, but then that would derail the conversation further. And we're trying to do deck tales, not globe tales or globe theories. But yeah, it's a nice alternative view of things. Moving on, were there any? Well, because your role was a bit like a hybrid of. Well, you were a crew. You weren't a guest performer. You were on that ship. Like we had the comedians who came and did their act and then they flew away again. You were crew, right? So you represented the company. Every day you basically stepped out your cabin. So with that, you're basically you're supposed to follow the same rules set by everybody, and that you're not supposed to go, how do we put this? Above and beyond the call of duty when it comes to customer service.
Right. We broke that rule. We usually break that rule all the time.
Well, I was going to ask, was there any particular ones that stood out?
No, not really. It was just it was a crazy. Obviously, this is a long time ago, and we were younger, so it was a little reckless. We used to hook up with people. We were part of the entertainment cast, and we were able to walk around the ship and still mingle with the guests, even though we were a crew. Because if you're crew, you're not supposed to be having drinks in public
with staff.
Well, if you're staff, if you're crew, if you're part of the ship of the staff, you're not allowed to go have a alcoholic drink out in the deck. And you weren't supposed to
we
eat.
Did.
Yeah, we did. Everybody did. And it wasn't like, actually a lot of the security guards did not like us because of that. And we used to just eat everything. We go out and just party, and we used to hang out at the club, and we were just acting like guests.
Outside of these forbidden romances that you're obviously dusting aside, that's fair. Did you have many of these excursions other than the one where you jumped off the cliff?
Yeah, we used to go zip lining. Used to go and explore the city. Actually, because I was a breakdancer and I was already traveling the world doing my dance, I end up connecting with dancers in Cozumel and Progreso, and they used to meet me at the port and pick me up and take me to their neighborhood or to their houses. And I used to explore the city in a different way than other people did. And I because I was a street performer and I was in the city in Los Angeles and in Venice, when I got to the ports, they came out to visit me and they used to pick me up and take me to the city. And eventually we ended up performing for the guests. So I used to speak English, and I had like 10 guys behind me that were all Mexican, that were all dancers, and I used to sit there and just make money with them.
That's cool, man.
Outside of the ship.
Well, yeah, it's like a side hustle when you're basically off the clock.
Yeah.
Tax-free income.
Tax-free income. And I didn't look at it as work. It was just doing what we did. So
yeah.
Hustling. And those guys used to bring me marijuana, used to bring me whatever I needed, and it was fun, man. I had
best of both worlds.
Shout out to Game Over Crew. That was their name, Game Over Crew.
With breaking, I know that like and I'm going to draw a comparison here that's completely irrelevant, but I'm trying to make it work. With like people that play video games, like they say there's a peak of your powers in terms of your reaction speed and how quickly you can click and whatever. Is there a similar thing with breaking? Like you, after a certain age, you kind of lose it a bit, or is that not really a thing? It's got me.
Yeah, I could still break.
Yeah,
I think that once. I don't even think it's about age. I just think that once you stop doing it, after a while, you start losing stamina. Now when I dance, I could basically still do the same things I was doing when I was 27 in my 20s. But now I can't go as long, and I'll get tired or I'll get hurt. I got sciatica, I got back issues, and so once in a while I'll feel it. Or when I do go out and dance, I used to be able to dance all night long. Now if I dance once, I get up and I'm like, I'm trying to catch my breath, and in that sense I lose power. But as far as executing the moves, I still feel like I could still do the same things. But I've been doing it for a very long time.
That's what I was going to say. You've been doing it for longer than, well, I've known you for a short spell, but you were doing it years before you started doing it professionally on the ships. You've been doing it pretty much ever since, still to this day.
Yeah. I started dancing when I was 14. Since 14.
Wow, yeah. You must be tired.
No, I love it, man. I'm still excited about it. I'm still involved in the community currently.
It's an old joke, Smurf.
Yeah, I know. I caught it.
You dance in the community?
Yeah. Now I'm dancing in the community, and I do a lot of summer programs with the kids out here. I teach them dance, graffiti. I've always had students, so I'm still involved in it even now, and I'm still active. And now I do a lot of hosting jobs with the events. So instead of competing, I'm hosting competitions, and I'm judging competitions. So I'm still involved.
That's awesome. Yeah. I always thought I'd love to come back out there to hook up and meet people that I used to work with, but I got, like you, offloaded before it was time, shall we say?
Yeah.
But we'll come to that in a little bit. I've just got a few more. Well, should we? No, let's talk about it now, because I don't recall this happening.
You don't. It was a big deal. It was a big deal.
I honestly don't remember it happening because. I don't know, like you said, it's obviously so many years ago. I left and my girlfriend was going to be coming to that same ship, right? Because I was obviously gone, she was like, oh, damn. And she'd already signed the contract. She had to go to that ship. She was the production singer. And having come on board the ship and knowing that we were never going to be reunited, she started seeing a Romanian blackjack dealer.
The Romanians. It's funny how everything on the ships was in categories. Like you got the Romanians doing this, you got the Italians being the captains, you got the Americans being entertainment. You got Peruvians that were the photographers on the ship, and it was like everything was broken down in like the Filipinos or the Vietnamese were in the cooks and the stewardess. And I think that every country had like an agency that represented the jobs that were on the ship. So I do remember that.
Who was the laundry department on Carnival? Was it the Chinese?
I don't remember, but I think we did our own laundry as crew, as staff.
We did not.
Yeah, I used to go do my own laundry. I never had nobody do my laundry there.
I didn't have time to do my own laundry.
Yeah, well, yeah, we did. Well, you had your clothes picked up. They picked up your clothes.
Yeah.
That's crazy. No, they didn't do that to us. Nah, I don't know. We used
You
to
missed
go
the
every week.
missed
Every
the
week we
Obviously, you weren't tipping your cabin steward enough.
no, we didn't even have cabin stewardess. We used to have to clean our own room.
What?
I don't remember having a stewardess. Maybe we did have a stewardess, but they were definitely not doing our laundry. They were definitely not doing. I remember going to the laundry room every week, and I remember being there just waiting, and other people were doing the laundry as well. So yeah,
Well, it's been such a long time. I'm assuming that maybe the only reason for that is because you had enough time off in the schedule to go and sort your own shit out.
probably.
So they were like, you know what? Fuck these guys. They can do their own goddamn laundry.
Yeah, they don't work. They get paid a lot of money and they don't do shit here. Because I remember we got paid a lot of pretty well compared to other people. Because I used to talk to people and ask how much they were getting paid. I think we're getting paid like 120 a day.
What, dollars?
Something crazy like that. Yeah, 120 a day, dollars a day. Yeah. So yeah, I think that compared to other people on the ship, and I think that was a lot. I think I remember some of the security guards were saying that they were getting paid maybe like 60, and yeah, we became loan sharks to some of the security guards. We used to loan them money, and so we were cool with some security guards, but some didn't like us.
Well, so when you say loan sharks, what do you mean? Like you paid them off?
No, we actually became
to
really
turn
cool
to turn a blind eye. You give them a little bit of money. Yeah.
Basically, one of them became really cool friends with us because he was a video gamer guy, and we had a PlayStation in our room, and he used to come into our
PlayStation 1.
Yeah, the old PlayStation.
Yeah.
And we had a God of War, and he used to come and play with us, and we started talking about finances, and we started loaning him money, because we just had money, and I didn't have a family, and whatever we were making, I was just spending it. I wasn't really saving. I was reckless with it. So I mean, I remember times we just gave him a few hundred here, a few hundred there, because he had a family, and we felt bad that he wasn't making as much, so we just give it to him, and we never really sat there and ask him like, "Yo, gotta pay us back," but he would give us special treatments when he see us around, and a few of his friends were cool.
It was less of a loan and basically a bribe.
basically. In theory.
Was he the only one you did it for?
Yes. Yeah. He was the only one. Yeah.
Where was he from? Do you remember?
He was. I think he was Filipino. He was Filipino. Yeah.
And so he was one of the many security guards on board. He was obviously of no use to you the day that they clapped you in irons.
Oh no, I was in. By the time that happened, there was nothing he could have done, and that was on my first contract. So the one before the one we worked together, yes.
Right?
Yes.
So what happened on the end of your second contract?
So on the end of my second contract, I got a little bit too ambitious on the ship. On Mike. So Mike ended up buying a very, very good camera while we were on the ship because we just had a lot of money. So he ends up buying a professional camera to shoot music videos, and we started writing a script, and we wanted to make a movie on the ship. So then we ended up getting the cast.
Actually, I think I remember us talking about writing a sort of like a sitcom or something.
It was a psychological thriller. I actually still remember the script. It was so good.
I literally just remember that so well all of a sudden. Mike was so into that idea.
Yeah, he was. Yeah.
But so what happened with that? You didn't make it.
We ended up not making it because I got fired.
That's right.
A few of us got fired actually. So what happened was, I'm gonna have to probably go back a little bit. During the time on Carnival, I used to go. Oh wait, so let me even go back. The Peruvians were the chefs. All the cooks were Peruvian, so they're Spanish speakers, and I was the only entertainment cast that spoke fluent Spanish. So I ended up being really cool with these guys, and I ended up getting cocaine for them, and Vicodins and Ritalin, anything they needed, because I was able to leave the ship and go to the pharmacy in Cozumel or Progresso or wherever we were at. I was able to go to the pharmacy. So I used to come back to the ship and just bring a bunch of stuff with me. And, they used to meet me in my room and I used to distribute it to them. And I became really cool with them to where that was something that I was doing already, and the security already knew what I was doing. Everybody kind of figured, because I was a bad kid, even on the ships, you weren't allowed to have tattoos, but I always had tattoos. I always wore a long sleeve, so you could never see them. And so I had a reputation on the ship already. I'm like, oh, that kid is bad, because I was doing tattoos. I was smoking weed in the Lido deck. I was smoking weed in my room. I was just being a bad kid. So I started serving the Peruvians on the ship, and it was really, really small amounts. I would go and get a few bottles, and I would try to, just bring in whatever I could. You remember there was a leak on the ship?
What, an actual leak?
Yes, there was a leak, and the Marine came. There was like maybe 3 Marines that came on board,
Right.
and they were fixing the leak during the course of the ship's route. They were on the ship fixing it.
I don't think I do remember this.
You don't? Okay, so there was a leak, and we end up having a few Marines on board.
Right.
And on the crew bar, they would always be hanging out, drinking or whatever. And one of them's name was Richard. I'm gonna say his name. Fuck him. So Richard, we call him Dix. So one day I was on board, and I went up to the crew deck, to the crew bar, and I seen him playing pool, and I saw the score on the board, and he was in first place. He said Richard, blah blah. He had points. So I look up and like, oh, the Dick is winning, and he starts laughing, and we kicked off, and we became really good friends. And I told him what I was doing, because he found out, and I told him, and he was like, oh, well, I don't get searched. So you remember when we come back on board, they used to search everybody,
Like
not the Marines though.
Like airport security.
Yeah, like the airport security. So when I was bringing stuff in, I used to have to hide it, but not the Marines. They used to be able to come in with duffel bags, and they never got searched. So then I told him what I was doing, and he wanted to help out. So he goes, oh, just give it to me. I'll bring it in. And I was like, okay. So then me and him started going to the pharmacies together, right? So I would, whenever we landed, the Cayman Islands. That's where we used to go. It wasn't the Bahamas. It was the Caymans.
Yeah, it was the Cayman Islands.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we used to go to the Caymans, and there was pharmacies there. So me and him used to meet up in the morning. I used to go to his room right when we landed, and we used to get off board. I used to go to his room, wake him up, and we used to go pharmacy, come back. I gave him everything, and he brought it in for me.
Yeah.
So we did that. We did that for a little while, and during this time, everybody knew what I was doing, so they were trying to catch me. And it's really rare to get a random drug test on board. It never happened, but it was happening to me every week for like 1 month. Like every week, I would get calls like, "Hey, you got to come to the medical. We need a drug test. You need to be here in 5 minutes." So Mike was a straight edge. Mike never smoked or did anything. So I already had a program. Whenever they called us, he would pee on a condom, and I would take the condom and I put a safety pin on my pants. And every time I go to medical, I always have pee, and it was every week. It was every week, and they did that to me like 3 or 4 times, like back to back to back. So I knew something was like, oh yeah, they're trying to get me. They're trying to get me. They know something's up. So me and Richard started bringing this stuff in, and he started taking it a little bit. He went overboard with it, meaning I used to come in with a few bottles, a little bag of weed. He started bringing in boxes of pills and whatever we were bringing in. He was bringing in a big amount of it.
Heavier stuff as well.
Yes. He was just bringing it. He did not care. And he had it all stacked up in his room. So anything that I brought in just enough for me to consume and just to get rid of. Like as soon as I got on board, I started giving it to everybody. So I never really had a big stockpile in my room.
Yeah,
I was always scared to have that, but not Richard. Richard would keep boxes in his room because nobody searched his room. He was just the man. He was the only one in power that had more power than the captain. Like if he wanted to stop the ship, they can tell the captain this is not going anywhere. So nobody was going to tell them anything. So he got too comfortable, and he was bringing too much stuff in. And just to fast forward, because there's so many little mini stories between this time that I can talk about. One day in the club, we have a club in the ship.
Yeah.
So we were upstairs in the club, and he's dancing with one of the guests, but he's too close to her. He starts kissing her, and he starts touching her, and I'm looking at him, and I was like, uh-oh, this is not good, because all the securities are looking. And I started telling him, like, yo, man, you got to get away from her. Get away from her. You're too close. But he was already fucked up. He was doing the drugs too. So allegedly, I told him to start getting away from her, and, whatever happened, I just got away from him. I was like, you know what? I can't get involved. I'm just going to step away from this situation. So I went upstairs hanging out with one guest. It was this girl that I was hanging out with. And we're upstairs smoking, and she goes, oh, come to my room. And I was like, okay, as I'm walking with her around the ship, I start hearing that they're looking for a guest, like a guest is missing. And I started getting paranoid. I'm like, oh, there's too many securities walking around right now. I'm just gonna go back to my room. And the next morning, we poured it on Caymans. I woke up and I went into his room to wake him up. And when I walked, because all the cast, he was on the bottom floor, and there was only a few rooms in that bottom floor. So if you were down there, you had to have a reason. So when I go into his room, I already see the federals from the Cayman Islands in his room, and I see him in handcuffs outside of his room. And I look and I was like, oh shit. And as soon as they all saw me, all the police saw me, and I turned around and I started walking the opposite direction, and they followed me, They asked me where I was going, and there was this girl. We had a thing going on, that she was my girl at some point. Me and her, we had this other little side business in the ship that I don't know if I'm going to talk about it, but me and her had a little side business on the ship. It was okay. It had to do with the other girls, and
what other girls?
The dancers.
Oh, okay.
What
were you?
I was facilitating, because the Peruvians, the guys that I was selling my stuff to.
Yes.
They used to always tell me in Spanish. They didn't speak English. They were like, "Oh, that white girl, she's so beautiful." And I know some of the girls in the dancing team, they were hoes. They were just fucking anybody. And I used to tell them like, "Oh yeah, well I can hook you up with her," And I used to facilitate that for them. I used to like bring them along and have the dance cast. And I'm not gonna get too into it, but we had access to the kids' room because one of the guys that ran the kids' room would let us go and party over there at nighttime with the video games and stuff. And she used to be a part of that. She was helping me out because she was about it. She was a cool girl. Just to bring it back to the moment where the security, the police, because security and police is two different things. This is the federals in the ship. They have him in handcuffs, the Marine, and they follow me, and then they go, "Where are you going?" And I told them, "Oh, I'm going to my girl's room." And she was really upset at me at this time. So they followed me into her room, and she played it off. She actually opened the door. I'm like, "Hey," and she played it off cool. So then the cops end up leaving, and I told her, I'm like, "Oh, Richard is in handcuffs. I need to go to my room and get rid of my shit because I had some stuff in my room." And I go to my room and I wake up Mike and I tell him, "Oh, Richard's getting arrested. I need to get rid of my stuff." So I had a shoebox I forgot what I had. I probably had some weed or some coke or whatever I had. I had a shoebox and I started putting everything in the shoebox, and I put the shoebox right in the middle of the room with the coffee table. And I jump into the shower so I can shower and get off the ship. Or I was gonna toss this in a trash can on the ship. I didn't even want to have it on me. So while I'm in the shower, the police comes into my room and they just open the room. They don't even knock, and they arrest me. So
whilst you were in the shower,
while I'm in the shower, I just hear them come in, and it goes, "Where's Pedro?" Blah blah. So I get out the shower, and there's like 6 police in there already. They handcuff me and they put me outside of my door, and like I'm in the floor and just looking at them, and they start searching my room, which is really funny.
Were you given a chance to put on some underwear at least?
Yes. They started searching my room, and they went through they took off my clothes. They started looking at all the jackets. They started looking everywhere. Yeah. But they did not look in that shoebox that's right in front of them, So I'm like looking this whole time, and I'm like, "Fuck, they're gonna find it." I'm stressed out.
Yeah.
And I see them giving up, and they're like, "Oh, we can't find nothing. Let's take them upstairs." So, and Stephanie, you remember Stephanie?
Stephanie was one of the dancers.
Oh, she was the captain. I think she was like one of the main women.
No, the cruise director.
Yeah, cruise director. That's right. She was the cruise director.
Yeah,
she did not like me. She did not like me.
She was there the day I got sent home as well.
Yeah. Stephanie's tough, and I get upstairs, and I'm so confused, but I know what's going on because I know Richard got caught. And I go upstairs, and I see Stephanie, I see some police, I see the captain, and I see Richard, and I see that girl that he was hooking up with. I see the girl that he was kissing.
The passenger.
Next to him, the passenger.
Right.
And I look, and I'm like, "Oh shit, what is she doing here?" So then they sit me down, and then they ask the girl, "Oh, is that him?" And she goes, "Yeah, that's him." And I'm like confused. I'm like, "What the fuck is she talking about? I don't know who she is." So what happened was, and I found this out at that moment, she actually had her husband on the ship, and she was hooking up with Richard. She ends up going to Richard's room that night. and she spent the night in his room. Her husband couldn't find her, so they started reporting her missing, and that's why all the securities and everybody was looking for her. She wakes up in the middle of the night or in the middle of the morning, like maybe 2 hours before we get off board, and they find her stumbling outside of his room. Like security finds her stumbling. So they ask her, "What are you doing here?" And she says, and she claims that she got raped and drugged. And she pointed, obviously Richard, because she was in his room, and she pointed me out for some reason. And I was really I was just, it was just so confusing, and I was like, what? No, no, no. Like, you could look at the cameras, there's ways of doing this.
Yeah.
And they end up arresting me. They end up arresting, and there's a jail on the ship. You remember there was a jail?
I never saw inside it. Where was the jail?
The jail was, I think it was near the laundry room. It was, on that side of the ship.
They called it the brig.
Yeah.
Right. So you got chucked in there.
No, they chugged in Richard in there. Because they found everything in his room, and they found her coming out of his room. They didn't want to put me in there with him. So I think we had 2 days before we went to Tampa. They had a security or a cop or police officer with me the remainder of the trip. So I had an escort the whole time. I couldn't do anything without having the cop next to me. And when they arrested me and took me upstairs, Mike grabs the box and walks out the ship with it and throws it in the trash. So the whole time, this is the same day, Stephanie goes, "Okay, well, if you're innocent, I need to drug test you right now." And obviously I'm gonna fail it, So,
and at this point, you've got no piss-filled condom.
I got nothing. I'm like, this is the moment, So then she goes, "Yeah, you could, if you pass the drug test, we'll let you go right now." But I know she knows that I wasn't gonna pass, So then I say, "No, I can't take the drug test." And she goes, "Why not?" I'm like, "Because now I feel like I'm being harassed. You guys have been drug testing me every week for the past month. Like I'm not doing that. Like, obviously that's not acceptable." They end up getting rid of me. So then she goes, "Okay, well then you're gonna have to pack your stuff once we land in Tampa." And I was like, "That's fine, but I'm not taking a drug test." So I ended up not taking it. I had an escort the whole time. And during this time, everybody was talking about it. So I don't know how you didn't know, because like some of the cast were crying. Like the girls were crying, like, because everybody liked me there. So everybody's like, "Oh, they got you. You're gonna," and I was like, "Nah, man, fuck them. I'm just gonna go back home," So once we get to Tampa, they escort me out the ship in handcuffs, right? And I remember the whole cast was out there by the elevators just looking at me, and I'm just like, "Whoa, this is real. Like, this is like a movie." And once I leave the ship, I thought they were just gonna let me go, but they put me in a police car, and I'm like, "What the fuck?" And that's when I realized that it was a little bit more serious than just getting fired from the ship,
Yeah.
And they take us. I don't know where they took us. I think it was a police station, or they took me to a building. They took me to somewhere. They took me somewhere, and on the way there, the officers that had me in the car, they were like, "You're lucky because she just released you," meaning that she came with the truth and said, "No, he has nothing to do with it." She realized how serious it was when they escorted everybody and they didn't let us go. That's when she knew that that she didn't want. I guess she felt bad that she lied about me. But Richard ended up going to jail. Richard ended up going to jail. Like after the ship, they ended up escorting him out, and I think they took him to jail because I started checking people's Facebooks and stuff like weeks after that, and he got held. I don't know what happened to him because
the truth will out.
Yes, and you know what? He was a fucking rat. So while we went upstairs and the girl was like pointing at me saying, "Yeah, that's him," Richard was telling them that he was getting everything with me. Richard was like, "Yeah, you guys can look at the cameras. He's my partner." And I'm looking at Richard. I'm like, "What the fuck, bro? Like, you can't be throwing me. You can't be ratting on me." Like, so yeah, he became a rat. That's why I didn't like him. So yeah, that's in a nutshell. That's it. That's what happened. Once I got to the police station, they just told me good luck, and I took a taxi to the airport and I flew back to LA, and that's basically how I got fired from that situation.
It's a big fucking nutshell. I mean, considering like how long ago it was, how every detail of it is ingrained in you, like it just happened last week.
Yeah, man, it's surreal. I do remember that. Like everything's a blur, but I do remember going upstairs and seeing Stephanie and the captain. And I was like, oh shit, this is it. This is it. This is it.
Yeah, it's not one of those. It's not a glory. It's not like you're glamorizing what you did. You obviously, uh,
I was stupid. I was young. I was.
exactly. So you made your mistakes, but you've turned the corner since there's positives to take away from that story. You've turned out a lovely young man as a result of it. I'm sure. Yes, the angel for the camera. I'll add it. I'll add in some wings and a halo in the post.
That's right.
Alrighty. Okay, so Smurf, do you know what you were saying about, which made me laugh a little bit, how I couldn't have possibly known about this because it was a big thing, and I had to have been there in order for it to be aware. So I reckon that the only reason I wouldn't have been aware of this is because I'd already left.
Oh, possibly.
It's possibly that is the case.
Possibly.
I remember you and Mike, but I don't remember you with anybody else. So if you'd have gone and then somebody else came in to replace you, I think I would have remembered that.
True. Actually, you know what? When I got let go, Mike was alone for a week because they couldn't replace me that fast.
Yeah. Well, I stepped in, but I didn't step in for you.
Yeah. And yeah, you would have known because everybody was talking about it. Like everybody knew. It was just I don't recall. To me, it seems bigger than what it was because I was the one experiencing it.
Yeah.
But man, everybody was talking about it. Like, when it happened, people were trying to talk to me. I remember when they escorted me out, it was sad, man. Like all the girls, all the dancers were crying, and
yeah,
it was just like, wow.
It was the same for me when I left.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy.
You see my eyes roll?
Yeah.
Well, it's just the complete opposite end of the spectrum. I've already told this story. I've even written about it in a book because it's crazy the levels of like unfair dismissals that people can have at sea. I got a 6 o'clock knock. Steph.
Yes.
Steph came to my cabin with head of security, and yeah, that was it. So I just left, and you know what it was down to? A bunch of miscommunications. It was basically like refusing to wear fucking shorts or not having shorts because they didn't have any to give me, being late to being on time for one or two activities because I wasn't consistently late, and having my fucking shirt untucked, literally.
What?
Yeah, so, we're basically the same, you and I.
Wow. Yeah, it's just, yeah, I remember that being a thing. The 6 o'clock knock was like something that everybody knew. Like if you got a knock at 6.
But so then obviously, if I don't remember you being fired, do you not remember me being fired?
I don't. I don't remember much. I don't remember much. I have like a few highlights, but I don't remember like.
And me leaving was not one of them. Obviously, I didn't leave that much of an impression. Whatever.
No, you did though, guys. I remember you very, very well. I remember us having a good time. There's a lot of people that I do remember. Like, there's a lot of people that I do remember. I had a lot of good friendships in there, man. We spent a lot of time together, right? I mean, every day.
Yeah.
And
well, we'd host an event every day. We would host those dances on the promenade.
Yeah.
You'd come in, you'd do your 30 seconds
Cupid
of dancing.
Shuffle.
Oh my God, don't
cha-cha slide.
Don't start again because I'm getting over it in my own way. 15 years in the future. If I hear it, I leave the room.
Wow.
So yeah, the thing about my departure was obviously similar to yours in that you had Steph come 6 o'clock knock, but you didn't remember mine. I didn't remember yours.
Yeah.
If I reckon it was about 3.5 months into me starting that contract that it happened to me. So I was on the ship for about 3.5 months of a 6-month contract. So do you know? Well, that we're trying to piece this together. Obviously, of 14 years ago. Do you know if you were on the ship for longer than that, shorter than that?
I think I was on a ship. I want to say
8 months was your first contract, and you left of your own accord. And then the second ship, you don't remember how long you was on it for?
I think it was like maybe I want to say 4 months.
So then
that was 4 months.
By that logic, you couldn't give a shit about me leaving. When it happened, it happened. And it was very kind of like, oh, well, where's Sam?
Yeah, that's how it happened, right? It's like, oh, what happened? Oh, yeah, he had to leave this morning. It was like, what? There was no time to like.
There was no time.
There was no time to say goodbye. None of that shit. Like, you got a 6 o'clock knock, you were out of there.
And for the crime of not tucking my shirt in.
That's crazy. That's crazy.
But in hindsight, if it hadn't happened, I probably would still be working for him.
Still now, you think?
I don't know. I really don't know.
So I have to tell you, when we were on the ships on my first contract,
yeah,
I had my partner Mace, and all the girls would just come into our rooms to drink our milk, our cereal, because we just had everything in our room. We had PlayStations, we had a refrigerator. Obviously, we all had refrigerators. We always had juice, milk, cereal. We just had everything in our room. We would cook in our room. So all the staff, all the girls in the dance crew, in the dance team would come into our room and like, hey guys, can we get milk? And they would come in and just use milk and leave. And we're like, whoa, this bitch is stupid, fuck her. So then we started recording it. We started making videos. So I had a YouTube channel and I was documenting a lot of this, where I was doing like vlogs on the ship, and I would say, oh yeah, this bitch is gonna come into a room today. What? And we used to hide the camera, and when she would knock, I would turn the camera on and we would record her coming in. And even my partner, I used to record him because he was really rude and like he was funny too, but he never drank or smoked or did anything wrong. I was the bad kid. I was always drunk. So I would go to sleep at maybe 3 or 4 or 5 in the morning, and he would be up at 6 in the morning because he would not drink. So then when I go to come into the room and I turn off the lights, he would turn on the lights and be like, hey, why are you drinking, bitch? Go, get your ass up. And he would, and I would start documenting him. I was documenting everybody in secrecy, and I would upload it on YouTube. And they end up finding the channel. Like one of the girls found the channel, and they were like, oh, we're gonna report you because I was recording everybody without their consent, and I'm just posting it on YouTube. And they got really upset. They're like, I can't believe you would record me and talk shit about me. And I used to record them, and one of them, I'm not gonna say her name. I know her on Instagram still. She had a boyfriend off the ship, but she was fucking the Italians on the ship. And when we go out when we port somewhere, she would be talking to her boyfriend while she was with the Italian.
There's a lot of that, isn't there?
Yeah, there's a lot of that, and I used to record it. I'm like, oh, yeah, this bitch is, So then it was just really funny because they found out, and they were like, oh, so I end up having to delete the channel. And now I look back, I'm like, I wish I would have just done it private. Yeah.
Or ask people for their consent afterwards.
Yeah, no, they weren't giving it to me.
Of course not.
They weren't giving it to me.
What were your favorite shows, events, game shows? No, that's too broad.
My favorite show was the Welcome Aboard.
The Welcome Aboard, yes.
Yeah, that was my favorite. The atrium.
No, you did a little tiny section on the stage in the main show lounge as well, though.
Yes.
What was the name of the dude with he looked like the funnel?
Oh, Fun Shit Freddy.
Fun Shit Freddy. Wow. That looked like I don't want to say. It was a weird mascot, wasn't it?
It was a weird mascot. You remember the girl?
I don't even remember who got inside that costume.
Yeah, her name is she was really cool friends with me. I forgot her name. I got pictures actually still of her. Yeah, it was a girl that was on the Fun Shit Freddy. That's right.
Yeah, but do me a favor. What's his name? Mace. Make a note. Set a reminder.
I'll connect you. He's good. He's very entertaining, and he has a lot of stories, man. He has a lot of stories.
Everyone has stories.
He was fucking the Fun Shit Freddy girl for a long time, So
while she was in costume.
Yeah, while she was in costume.
Prostitution. I want to go back to that really quickly. you were I made a note to myself. You were pimping out some of the show team girls to members of the crew.
Allegedly, yeah. Allegedly.
No, you've already said it, mate. You're fucking.
I wouldn't call it, I was just facilitating. I'm a facilitator. That's what I was doing.
Okay, sorry. Yes, facilitator. You just enabler. But so were you taking money for it, or
Yeah, I was. Well, the Spanish dudes, they're in there cooking, and when you go on when we land in Caymans or something, they can't get off board. They still have to continue cooking. So their lifestyle is a little bit rough, and I used to spend time with them, and they used to always tell me, "Oh, that girl is so beautiful." The girl I would walk around with the girls all the time because they were entertainment.
Wow.
And like, "Oh, that white girl you were with the other day, I know she was a hoe." So I would like, "Oh yeah, I could hook you up with her," and I would charge them to just be in the same room with them, and then I would give them a little bit of money if they hooked up, and I don't know, yeah, something like that.
That's great. I don't think I've exhausted you, but I feel like I kind of just about got down to the barrel of your sort of bottom of your stories pile. I'm sure there's many more that you could tell us, but you know what? It's been great. I've really enjoyed it. It's been fucking brilliant. And considering you just woke up, credit to you, man. Credit to you.
Thank you for having me, man. This was fun.
Yeah, it was really good fun. Before you do go, tell us just a quick summation, or what is it that you're up to now, what you're doing. If you've got anything to promote, now's your chance.
You guys can find me on Instagram, Bboy Smurf, BBOY SMURF. And if you follow me there, you can check out my tattoo work. We have a tattoo studio out here in Las Vegas, Nevada. So if you guys need any work, come check us out. I have so much going on, but I think that's where I'm gonna leave it right there. Go check out the Instagram.
All of the cartoons and stuff that you're working on and everything else, it's all there.
It's not there. All that stuff. It's on my Twitter, on my X. So you guys can find me on there as The Kid Arcade, and that's my other name. I have multiple lives that I live. So I trade NFTs. I do a lot of artwork, digital art, and I have a YouTube channel that I talk about NFTs and stuff like that. And you can find all that on the X, The Kid Arcade.
Interesting. I'm gonna check that out because I don't know much about NFTs except for was it one of the Logan? Was it Logan Paul or something?
Yeah,
I think he paid for one. He got was it Bieber, Justin Bieber, or somebody? They paid way too much money for one and they got ripped off.
Yeah. There's a lot of that.
There's a lot of that. Right. Well, so thank you so much, mate, for reminiscing with me. It's been amazing. I've enjoyed this this morning with yourself.
Thank you.
And I will hopefully make it back over to the States one day. I'm pretty sure that passport stamp I've got of what does it say? It's an old passport, but it basically said refusal to be I couldn't come back to the country basically via the same means.
Whoa.
Because of my sloppiness and tardiness, not wearing a t-shirt, not tucking my shirt in or whatever it was.
That's crazy.
But I think the statute of limitations is probably long since
passed.
Yeah,
it's long. I got banned from Carnival. I think I got like a 5-year ban.
Oh, only 5 years? Well, we're apples and oranges in terms of comparisons to our exit at the end of our contracts. But by no means, we're still, it didn't feel like it was that long ago when we were talking about it. It kind of...
It brings it back, yeah.
It all brings it back. We're all just going through the motions, but great to see you. Great talking with you.
Thank you for having me.
Thanks for coming on and helping me make a go of things. So I'll say goodbye. All the best to you, brother.
The best to you, man. Thank you.
Thanks again. See you later. Have a good day.
All aboard.
Bon voyage.
Bon voyage.
So there you have it. That wraps it up for this episode of Deck Tales. I hope you enjoyed it. If you've been entertained by the tales of laughter, camaraderie and the occasional stormy sea, then don't forget to subscribe, rate and leave a review. Your feedback helps us to navigate the podcasting waters and continue bringing you these fascinating stories. Before I sign off, if you'd like to share your own stories for future episodes, then I'd love to hear from you. Simply get in touch over the socials because after all, the best stories often come from our listeners. As we navigate through the waters of life, remember to enjoy the journey as much as the destination, as well as those you choose to share the adventure with. I've been your captain, Sammy Catlin. Until next time, fair winds, smooth sailing, and may your adventures be as unforgettable as those shared here on Deck Tales. Bon voyage.